The desert was silent that night. The wind brushed across the endless Nevada sand, whispering softly through the dunes. Above, the stars shone clear and countless, trembling like secrets waiting to fall. Then one of them did. It came as a streak of light across the dark sky, brighter than lightning but slower than any shooting star. The air trembled, coyotes went silent, and at a small Air Force station near Rachel, Nevada, radar screens came alive with one pulsing object descending fast through the atmosphere. The streak became a roar and then a quake. Sand lifted in waves as a blinding blue light slammed into the desert floor, just 30 miles from Area 51. When the dust settled, a smoking crater shimmered under the moonlight. At its center lay something alive. Not metal, not stone, something in between. A figure struggled to its knees, humanoid, but not human. Its skin glowed faintly, like moonlight through water, and beneath that light ran veins of blue that pulsed with life. It looked around the barren land with eyes wide and luminous, full of confusion and pain. He pressed one hand to his side, and a silvery blue fluid oozed through his fingers, hissing as it touched the sand. Then his head turned sharply. He heard a sound, a small, weak whimper. "Luma," he whispered, voice strange and vibrating more than spoken. He stumbled toward the noise, calling again, "Luma," but there was only the wind. In the distance, engines began to roar. 15 minutes later, a convoy of black jeeps reached the site. Soldiers surrounded the crater, weapons drawn, floodlights flooding the scene. Colonel Hayes stepped out from one of the jeeps. He was tall, with gray hair and a face that had seen too many secrets. "Secure the area," he ordered into his radio. The soldiers fanned out, and soon one of them called him over. Hayes peered into the crater. At first, it looked like a burned flight suit. Then it moved. The soldiers froze. The creature raised its head weakly, the glow of its skin flickering like dying fire. Hayes's instinct said danger, but his mind whispered curiosity. "Get it contained," he said quietly. "Alive." The alien, Zorith, tried to defend himself, light rippling through his body as he pushed back one soldier with a wave of blue energy. But he was too weak. Electric darts hit his chest, and he fell hard, the ground flashing beneath him. When he went still, the team loaded him into a sealed containment capsule and drove back toward the base. Hayes stayed silent the whole ride, his eyes on the faint blue glow behind the glass. Something about that creature's eyes didn't feel hostile. It felt lost. Deep under Area 51, scientists gathered like bees around the unknown. Monitors blinked, scanners hummed, and people in white coats whispered words like unidentified biological entity. Dr. Mira Lawson entered last. She was tired, curious, and completely unaware that her life was about to change. She stood at the observation window of Containment Chamber 3. Inside, Zorith lay on a reinforced table, motionless but alive. His skin shimmered faintly under the harsh light. Electrodes covered his body. One scientist, Dr. Kim, explained that his cells refracted light, literally bent it, as if light was a part of him. Or maybe it's part of his soul, Mira murmured quietly. Colonel Hayes appeared behind her. "Study it," he said. "Find out if it's dangerous." Mira turned to him. "And if it's not?" Hayes didn't blink. "Then we find out what it wants." Hours passed, and everyone left except Mira. She stood by the glass, watching. Then Zorith stirred. His eyes opened, faintly glowing again. They stared at each other, human and alien, through the thick glass. For a moment, neither moved. Then Zorith spoke, not in words, but in a pulse of sound that she felt more than heard. It vibrated softly in her chest. She didn't understand the language, yet she felt the meaning. "Where is she?" The emotion hit her like a whisper through water. "Who?" she asked. "Who are you looking for?" Zorith's eyes dimmed. A single tear of light rolled down his cheek and vanished before it fell. The next morning, Mira was summoned by Hayes. He reprimanded her for staying past protocol hours, warning that the creature could be dangerous. But she insisted. It cried. Hayes frowned. "You're projecting." She stared back. "Or maybe you're refusing to see what's in front of you." Hayes hesitated, then said something that chilled her. The sensors had detected another energy signature near the crash site. Smaller, connected. Possibly another being. "If there is," he said, "it'll come for this one." That night, Mira returned again. She told herself it was for research. Zorith was awake now, unbound but weak. "Do you understand me?" she asked softly. He tilted his head, and light began to move across his skin in deliberate patterns, pulses of gold and blue forming rhythm and meaning. She recorded it, feeding it through translation software. After several tries, the voice output translated fragments. "Luma lost must find." "Luma," she repeated. "Is that someone?" He nodded. "A person." He paused, searching for words. "Light, companion, my heart." Myra's chest tightened. An alien was speaking about love. The next day, she searched the classified logs. The military had found something else, a small glowing organism from the crash, labeled specimen L7, moved to another lab. When Mira entered under pretense of inspection, she found a creature floating in a suspension pod. It was small, luminous, almost like a jellyfish, but gentler, glowing softly with the same energy as Zorith. It looked peaceful and lonely. Mira whispered, "Luma." The creature stirred and turned toward her. For a moment, its glow brightened like it recognized the name. Mira felt her heart race. Behind her, Hayes appeared. "Beautiful, isn't it?" he said quietly. "That bond they share makes it dangerous." Mira turned sharply. "You can't keep them apart. That's cruelty." Hayes looked away. "The Pentagon wants answers, not sympathy." Then he left her alone with the floating creature. That night, Mira returned to Zorith's chamber. She brought a small neural device, a prototype she designed for brainwave mapping. She attached the sensors to him carefully, telling him softly, "Luma's alive." His eyes widened with sudden hope. The machine hummed, and waves of color began to fill the room, blue light flowing from his chest to hers. Then images flooded her mind. A planet made of crystal forests, oceans suspended in the sky, cities glowing with life. She saw Zorith and Luma laughing together under a glowing sky, then fire, destruction, falling stars. Their ship tearing apart, his hand reaching for hers before the crash. Mira pulled away with tears in her eyes. "You came here just to find her," she whispered. "Heart cannot survive alone," Zorith replied weakly. Up in the control room, Colonel Hayes had been watching the readings. For a moment, even he felt the echo of that connection. But suddenly alarms blared. "Containment breach, Sector 7, a voice crackled through. "Specimen L7 reacting, energy surge, then silence." Hayes looked down at Mira and shouted through the mic, "What did you do?" Mira looked up, panicked. "Nothing." He felt her. The lights flickered violently. Zorith's body began to glow brighter, the whole room vibrating with energy. Hayes shouted, "He'll blow the sector." Mira ran to the glass. "Zorith, please. Calm down. She's safe. I'll bring her to you, I promise." He looked at her, and slowly the light faded. He pressed his hand against the glass. She did the same. Everything fell silent. Security sealed the area, and Mira was questioned for hours. Hayes warned her she was getting too close, but for reasons he couldn't explain, he didn't report her. That night, she sat alone in her quarters, staring at the stars outside her window. Somewhere beneath her feet, deep under the desert, Zorith was trapped in a cold cell, separated from the only being he loved. And for the first time, Mira realized she cared about him, not as a subject, but as something more. Down below, Zorith sat quietly in the darkness. Through the walls, he could still feel Luma's faint pulse of light and Myra's promise. He whispered her name in his language of light, and the walls around him shimmered softly in reply. Outside, the desert wind rose again. The stars trembled, and somewhere far beyond Earth, something ancient began to stir. The story of Zorith and Mira had only just begun.